Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am Lame Hillbilly, and today we're going to be talking about Walrus Anglers Club. So this is a new project developed by Frozen Walrus, right? And we wanted to provide a standalone product, a couple obviously with Glacier as well. But what I really wanted to do was create this standalone product that could stand the test of time and be a long-term investment for Frozen Walrus users and anybody that wants to come in after. These mining protocols, these mining NFTs are pretty much you buy an NFT for a portion of the miner profits. And what it is you raise the capital by offering up these NFTs, right? And so we have 10,000 NFTs. They're going to go from $100 all the way up to $200 over the course of 4 phases. And we'll break this down more whenever we go over the white paper. So that's what we're doing today is I'm going to be explaining everything on the white paper and hopefully give you a better understanding of exactly what these NFTs are and hopefully make an educated decision whether you want to invest or not. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break down Walrus Anglers Club, what it is, and if you want to invest in it. So here is the white paper that I've created. And so basically what we start off with is saying buying miners on your own can be a huge hassle and not to mention extremely costly. Walrus Angler Club will give you access to real-world miner farms that will be ever expanding that you can personally profit from buying our NFTs. You can think of our miners as a basket hash rate pivoting for a maximum profitability through several proof of work cryptocurrencies. And so what we wanted to make clear there is that yes, these specifically off of the first farm will be Kadena miners, and the hash rate and the difficulty for those are the most optimal for profit. But what we wanted to make clear is that we don't have to continue buying Kadena miners, and through compounding of these mining rewards, we're really looking to buy anything that's profitable. So if it's Litecoin, if Litecoin's difficulty stays very, the same, then we may invest in Litecoin ASIC miners. But specifically for the first phase, we know that we're going to be purchasing a lease agreement for specifically Kadena miners. Because again, we think that is kind of like our moon basket coin and a really good advertisement and starter for us. So our first set of miners will be 18 KD6 miners as of right now, unless we can find a better pricing. But Sean, the person that is realistically running this project with me, he has been doing this for a couple of years now, pricing out different mining leases and also mining equipment from across the world, whether it be from China, Texas, whatever it is, and he finds really optimal prices. So he's been doing this for quite some time, so I'm very happy that I've linked up with him. But the first ones that we've actually modeled out was really KD6 miners and their difficulty and hash rates and profits. And so that's really what we're going for with our first farm. And that is, that's subject to change, but we're really thinking that's solid. We're about 99% sure, but I don't want to back myself into a corner where we couldn't find a more optimal, more profitable situation. So in here on the second page, it says the Walrus Anglers Club is an NFT collection on the Avalanche blockchain with 10,000 NFTs released in 4 phases. Each phase will contain 2,500 mints. Below is the pricing structure for the mints. So we have 4 phases, and the reason that we do it in 4 phases is because these miners aren't actually supposed to mint out all in one day, as you've seen with like other popular ones in bull runs. These will take some time to mint out because the prices of these NFTs are actually better priced than other mining ones, but we're expecting with this market that we're not going to sell out in one fell swoop, right? No matter how much marketing we do and things like that. It's just one of those things that I feel like may take some time, and I'm okay with that. So I wanted to set the expectations early on. But for phase 1, you are buying into an NFT that's $100, and then the intrinsic value of that NFT actually after phase 2, 3, and 4 will automatically go up. And that's one of those psychological things, the GameFi things that we're adding, that they've added in all of these mining NFTs, where if you buy, obviously at the beginning, you're getting a better price and your NFT will automatically be worth more, hypothetically by phase 4 where it will double in price. So you're buying for $100. So even if we don't have the miners in hand and we're not compounding yet, then by phase 4, your NFT that you bought $100 is now technically worth $200. And it could take a couple months to get there, but you're already getting, your return from just the phases going up in price. Another way that you'll be gaining without actually having mining rewards is that after phase one, we have budgeted out that we will be able to buy our first farm. So with buying our first farm, we will be compounding those rewards for 6 months before we allow the vote from the community whether they want to compound or distribute those funds. So there's going to be 6 months worth of mining rewards intrinsically, placed on these NFTs before they start distributing any kind of rewards. So that could also make your NFT worth a little bit more. So all of these little things are made to heighten the effect of each phase being more and more sought after and start minting out faster and faster. And once people see success and things like that, then they'll start piling in. And that's the thought anyway from my end as to why we've priced it this way. And again, we could have went a little bit more greedy and asked for higher prices. I modeled out like a $200 start price and ending at like a $350, $400. But my main goal here was to make these accessible to anybody from any investors. And I know that there's a lot of people that have lost money in DeFi recently, even in my own project, just because there's no liquidity available. And then, the market's just really bad. So I wanted to make sure that people felt like the risk was worth it, right? And so with what I've laid out here, I've really tried to make it accessible for anybody that, has $100 still left and they want to buy these NFTs. I can't promise you that these are going to moon in the first, month. But, these really, the reason I like these, is because once you start compounding these rewards, gaining more farms on top of more farms, there's only ever 10,000 of these NFTs and you get 1/10,000th of the profit of these miners. So realistically, if we continue to compound after 2-3 years, if Kadena goes up, if Litecoin goes up, and we're buying these mining equipment while it's at an all-time low, then these NFTs after 2 years have really gained, some momentum behind them as to what they're worth. And that's really why I like this model because these are a long-term investment, but you still can sell out of them hypothetically if we get down 6 months and you're saying, I need this money. Well, now you've got 6 months of rewards backing your NFT before they're distributed. And even after they're distributed, you're still, whenever you buy them at $100, their value is not going to be $100 in 6 months to a year. It'll be much more because they're producing much more. And so people will want to buy into that. So I wanted to make that clear about the phases and why we technically do them. So kind of our roadmap, our first one is after the first phase one, buying necessary leases, which we're already working on, installation of cooling, and buying our first 8 miners, 4,000 in prizes given to mentors throughout phase. So I want to make this clear. Our first 8 miners is not the 18 that we need, but we are going to start filling up that lease before we get to phase 2. So if we can go ahead and purchase those 8 miners, I want to go ahead and do it, but we won't have our full we're not fully stacked yet on all of the miners that we can have after some of phase 2 has happened. So then after 5,000 are minted in phase 2, we'll start purchasing the remainder of the 10 miners to complete the first farm. Over $10,000 for marketing and giveaways. The community wallet will be filled with over $50,000. And just to be clear, with the $50,000 in the community wallet, until we mint out, that community wallet is not specifically for the community. It is going back into the miners over the course of these phases. So you'll see what we end up with after everything for phase 4 and where we're at hypothetically after everything mints out. So 7,500 minted, we will begin the purchase of our second lease to expand operations for another farm. So this is past the first farm. We already have 18 miners. We are looking to our second farm by phase 3 and also purchase the next 18 miners. Another 10,000 will be given away for marketing and mint prizes during this time. So each phase is kind of like its own NFT mint, where we'll be remarketing everything and still continuing to push the narrative of minting these out. They get more expensive. You still have a chance in phase 3 to get a discounted NFT. And then by phase 4, everybody will have to be paying $200 for these miners. the third purchase of the leasing for our third farm, along with another 18 miners. Now, again, we're saying 18 miners as if we're sticking with Kadena, but by this time, if it's a month or two and we find a more lucrative price point for the new ANT miners that are coming out for Kadena, for ASIC miners for Bitcoin, whatever it is that's more optimal, more price, we're going to go after that. So I put 18 miners here as if we're using Kadena specifically, just to make it easier as a read for this white paper. But then we'll have another 20,000 done during this phase for marketing and giveaways. So during all the phases, of course, we're going to be doing giveaways to mentors, and then we'll eventually have our end goal and then a bit left in the community wallet. So let's break down the minting cost on page 4. Below details an overview of the purchase of our first farm consisting of up to 18 miners. So this breaks down each time that we buy a new farm, right? So the lease for the unit is around 11,000, and that's subject to change based on New Zealand, where these first farms will be located. But of course, we can also do it in Texas. He has some leases that he can potentially purchase there, but he is looking in New Zealand for right now. So business insurance, 3,600. Management fee, 10,000. That is going to Sean, who will be. This is about a 7-minute drive. Our first lease is about a 7-minute drive from his house. He will be actually going there with any issues, upgrades, maintenance, anything like that. He will be going to these leases, these farms, and doing all the necessary upgrades, and that is always asking for each time. So I think it's a steal. And he's a very, very generous person for helping us out with this. The cooling installation around 20,000. And then of course the 18 ASIC miners as priced currently is about 144,000. These are specifically the KD6 miners. And then a little bit about where the profit is for these KD6 as it currently sits. Now I'm going to explain some differences of where you could see it in the next month, 2 months, whatever else, based on the new ANT miner KD6, or not the KD6, but the new ANT miner Kadena ASIC. So below details the projected profits of one farm per day with the above listed setup with mining Kadena. So you can see the hash rate there, the difficulty there, and of course the difficulty will go up as more miners are added to the system for proof of work. And then right now, hypothetically, we have KDA mined per day is about 200. And then the price of KDA, I think, is about 150 right now, not 158. But realistically, we should see Kadena go up during the bull market, because last bull market, I think it got up to like $8. And that's really what we're banking on. So if we're mining right now for the next bull cycle, in 6 months, Kadena will drastically go up, hopefully. And then, of course, the distributed profits will go substantially up as well. And that's really why we focused on Kadena for these first ones. So after power, we're looking at about $211 with this current modeled out price point. But that is for one farm, right? And we're looking to get 3 by the end of the phases. Times that by 3. If we go all Kadena, that's $600 or about $18,000 a month at the current price of Kadena. Now, 6 months of that will be compounded back into Kadena single stake. And then if we can get another farm by the end of that, based on the Kadena price, we will. But then we'll also start offering it up month to month. Does a user want to distribute those funds, or do they want to compound those funds? And that is up to you all as a community. Anybody with an NFT will be able to vote, and then we'll do that every month to month. So I put a little bit of a rough estimate with the above numbers over the course of the year. If nothing were to change, that would be roughly 77,000 yearly per farm. After phase 4 concludes, we anticipate at least 3 farms, bringing our total yearly revenue to 231,000. Now, of course, that's not to account for the actual breakdown of 75% being compounded, 20% for the community wallet, and everything like that. That is just a baseline if Kadena stays at $1.50, which again, we have to assume some type of price increase during a bull cycle. So we anticipate this price to go up over the course of the next 5 years, but would like to give you the baseline bare minimums. Now, of course, can Kadena go down? Yes, but this is just realistically where we're looking at. This results in over 214,000 Kadena mined per year with our current 3-farm setup. So I wanted to preface this by saying Antminer is releasing a new miner, right? And it is specifically geared as a Kadena ASIC miner. It is going to be 4 times more efficient than currently what is offered, with a higher price tag, of course. But what could this do is it could increase difficulty much faster than we anticipated over our 3-year projection. So I just want to say that because obviously the difficulty could go up and it could become less profitable. And that is why we want to be a basket hash rate ready to be able to change our lease to say, hey, we had Cadena miners, but we actually are going to switch over to Litecoin miners. And that is all done by Sean. He is looking for the most optimal setup. And I'm really excited to see how we can pivot and make sure that we're always being, as profitable with this project as possible, right? So let's break down the mint breakdown. So phase 1, it'll realistically be about 250,000 USDC, and that equates to 125,000 for the miners. Now, what does that mean? Why are we losing half the value? Because this is a Frozen Walrus product, I wanted to make sure Frozen Walrus benefited, right? And that is what we're doing with all the products we release. So half of every mint will go into buying Walrus Share, which is the Synorge protocol's share token, the reward token that we give out. And our intentions there is actually to own most of the supply of Walrus Share after the course of this mint, which of course would drastically increase the price if we got into a situation where we owned most of the supply. So by phase 2, we'll have about 312,000. And that's not adding them up. That is saying each of these mints will equate to this much USDC spent. So total raise, if we just go down to the very bottom, is about 1.4 million over the course of 4 phases. And we end of line get around 718,000. Now, I do want to say that if it gets to a position where I feel like we need a little bit of extra money, the wallet that is collecting the Walrus Share is subject to being able to sell some of that to expense the cost, because at the end of the day, this is a product you're buying into, and I want to make sure that we can secure the things that we've asked for. So if we do need some extra money and wiggle room, of course, we will do what is necessary to make sure that we can afford things, because the good thing about this on Frozen Walrus side, as somebody that's producing this product, is that once we launch this, it's really hands off in terms of there's no token that we need to support. There is no maintenance that we need to support. It's all being done in-house through Walrus Anglers Club. And that is very good for us because, Frozen Walrus as a protocol will start gaining into the treasury as a real revenue based on the mints, based on the trades from the NFT royalties, and just on the mint itself. So I actually break down here, 10% of all mints go to Frozen Walrus Treasury as protocol-owned liquidity. And what that means is 10% of everything that we mint out will actually go back to Frozen Walrus Treasury, which means the Walrus Share and the USDC will then go to the Treasury. And again, we may pull some of that back. I will make that decision. If we need more money, of course, I will just leave it there and be able to afford the miners that we need. So no worries there. I'm not, everybody knows that I'm not that greedy of a person. So I'm going to make sure that this NFT goes off without a hitch and we are able to afford everything we need. So the 6% royalty that we will offer up through NFT Trade or whoever we, hopefully we sponsor with, is for buys and sales of each NFT. 2% buys back and burns Walrus, Narwhal, whatever it is. But then 4% is protocol revenue. Now, it may not be a lot, right? It may not be a lot. These NFTs may not be traded a lot. And that's okay, right? I'm not too concerned about that. But it is something. It is a revenue. And then lastly, 5% of all the NFTs are actually going to be kept by Frozen Walrus. And the reason we want to do that is to make sure that we have income from these, from this product that we're producing. So 5% of those, which is 500 NFTs, will be held. And we may give some away through the Frozen Walrus Treasury, but we want to make sure that we can secure a large amount of that profit. So we wanted to take 5% of that. And so speaking of profit, let's talk about profit distribution on page 6. So we broke it down that 75% of all of the mining rewards are actually going to NFT holders after a 6-month period. Then you'll be able to vote whether you want to keep 75% of those rewards or recompound them. And then 20% goes to a community wallet. And then you're probably thinking, Lame Hillbilly, Austin, what's going into this community wallet? Why do we have it? So we are actually going to use this for promotions, but mainly we're going to be looking for DeFi investments, maybe some more degen investments, other tune forks, whatever it is, whatever is good in the market currently. We are going to be looking to invest that money in for faster returns for you as a user. That also means that we can do validator nodes and other, mechanics like that. We want to look to invest this money so that we can give you more than just the mining rewards, so that we're not contingent on miners being super profitable. Of course, we think they are with Kadena, but we want to have the option. So the community wallet is something that we will use to invest in other protocols. And we haven't decided yet if we want to make like a executive decision or if we want to allow, people to vote for it. I'm always on the side of voting and letting the community decide, but we'll make sure that it is something that we can make it lucrative. And then 5% is development fund. Nobody does anything for free, except for sometimes maybe me. But specifically this time, I want to make sure that we have some revenue for me and Sean, so that we can uphold all of these things that we have here, and we're not going broke and going back to McDonald's. So it won't be a lot, if we think in terms of $6,000 maybe a month on our first farms, it's not much. But it does keep the lights on, and so that is what the development fund is for. Also, I'll be using that to pay for the dashboard or any kind of development that we need on the actual NFT itself. And then lastly, there's a disclaimer, which I'll go ahead and read out here for this video. The Walrus Club project is not a registered investment, legal or tax advisor, or a broker-dealer, and as such, any and all information provided within this white paper does not constitute financial advice. All financial information expressed by Walrus Club project and associated representatives should never be perceived as expectations, and returns are never guaranteed. It is always recommended that as an investor, you do your own research and conduct appropriate due diligence. Any content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. Although best efforts are made to ensure that all information is accurate and up to date, occasionally unintended errors and misprints may occur. And so all that's saying is, listen, we did our best making this white paper as accurate as possible, but some of these numbers could obviously change. Crypto is extremely volatile, and please don't hold us to it. So that is it. That is the Walrus Anglers Club full breakdown. I hope that made it kind of clear for everybody. If you still have questions, of course, make a comment on this video. I am trying to put out a lot more content, so if you've made it this far, I know it's a long video, but I'm very happy you did. I'm starting to get that juice flowing again, where I really want to start creating some content for everybody. I hear the amount of support that I get for these videos, and that's honestly awesome. It's been a dream of mine to also create content. I love doing this in video format. And if it helps you all make better educated investments, then I'm all for it. So again, if you've watched this to the end, if you watch my videos, if you're subscribed here, thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, please take a minute, press the subscribe button, like the video, because this is really a really good marketing tool for us, and it's completely free because I'm doing it on my own time. So thank you so much for watching. And have a wonderful day.